This was me a decade ago, a young buck, 19 years old, full of aspirations of creating an impact in the fitness industry. I knew I needed people, I needed systems, I needed to get out of my own way, and more importantly, I needed to evolve as a human being. I just didn't know how. Fast forward 10 years and we're serving over 300 clients who are invested not just in themselves, becoming the fittest, strongest, healthiest versions of themselves, but they're invested in a business. I'm proud to say that over the last 10 years of ups and downs, lessons, wins, more challenges than I can remember, they love it just as much as I do. And when I think about the team that we've been able to cultivate and the changes that we've made and the people we've brought on board with a mission, having over 14 individuals being able to make the impact that they do every single day on the 300 plus clients that we have is world class. What you've just seen didn't happen by accident. It came from having a vision of who we wanted to become and being incredibly intentional about who we didn't want to become. And in this video, I want to share with you the 5 big changes that we've made inside of T2FIT moving into 2026. Because as I just mentioned, what you get isn't by accident. It's about being intentional with the decisions that you make. And you need to be 5 moves ahead every step of the way. And I also want to share how I'm evolving as a leader, the changes that I've had to make to ensure that us as a whole company, as a team, stay aligned. Because remember this, A-star players, 10 out of 10s, don't want to work with an 8 out of 10. So what's important is that you evolve as a human being, as a leader. Because if you're still doing what you once did, even 12 months ago, chances are you haven't grown enough. What you are doing now needs to be completely different to what you were doing 12 months ago if you were looking to grow yourself, your company, and the people inside of it. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 biggest changes we've made as a company in order for us to get to the next level. Starting with the most overlooked one.
Let's go and see what the team think. All right, guys. Jeez. What special delivery?
What you got? Christmas coming.
Hey,
what is in there?
Hey!
Love that.
Here we go.
Hey.
It's looking clean. It's looking clean.
Hey. Are we allowed one?
No,
It's fucking naughty.
It's
quite thick, isn't it? It's quite thick.
we put it on if you like.
Let's get the
It
clobber on.
feels real good.
To be fair, that is thick.
Nice. Oversized, isn't it?
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
like
that's
a little
really nice.
chill one.
I
Do you know what I
really
mean?
like it.
There's 60 quid if you want one. That felt good, because when you've worked on something for such a long period of time, the time and effort of looking at design and getting the right fabric and material to rolling it out to eventually getting it in stock, you can miss things and you can think that what people will want is this thing, and then when you eventually roll it out, it isn't. What you think looks great looks completely different to somebody else. And granted, we haven't rolled this out to clients yet, but usually the team will be the first indicator as to whether or not you should do something, because they'll tell you honestly whether they like it or they don't. And if the team feel proud to wear it, that's a sure sign that it's probably something that clients will want to wear too. And it just takes me back to where I have been over the last few years, which is about really turning a blind eye to spending time and effort on brand, on merch. And it's something that, as I've mentioned in previous videos, I've spoken about the year of brand and us really doubling down on the brands. You know, in this day and age, I think it's one of the most important things for you to differentiate yourself from the marketplace and have something that feels world class. Now, I'm not saying that brand is solely made up of merch. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that across the board, you need to analyze every single interaction that your clients and prospects and team have with your company. Whether it's, social media, whether it's emails, whether it's certain touch points that clients get, or certain anniversaries that you celebrate for your team, or certain wins that have, happened inside the business. It's so important that you think about all those aspects. And when I think about where we've been weakest, it's around the one thing that we've probably had requested most, which is about clobber, merchandise, things that people can wear and want to be associated with you. And, I've spoken about this before, but it's not about you looking at this going, it's going to cost me X, it's going to cost me Y in time. It's about going, okay, how's this going to elevate what we currently do? And if you have an opportunity to be able to get your brand into more people's hands because they're proud to be a part of it, not only is that going to strengthen retention, but it's going to strengthen the brand. And that's a big focus for us in 2026. Yo! I need you to come and film something for me. Let's go. Come on. The kiosk is finally in. Ashley's going to show us the brand new kiosk system. No, not really.
Hello.
The new way people engage with our fuel bar. We have had different iterations of the fuel bar, but essentially, we started out in 2021 having a full-time front of house team. And as time's evolved, we've realized that looking at our model, it's not necessarily something that we want to commit to long term. And as we grow to more sites, it's something that's very difficult to scale. So I want to share a story, just one that really stood out to me in terms of this being the right decision. At the end of December, I'm speaking with a client at our Christmas party, and he was saying how much he loves the experience and the service. He loves the shakes, but he feels bad sometimes asking the team to make a shake because it's not something that we have somebody behind 100% of the time, and maybe coaches run over in sessions and we're pivoting and we're having to bring the next group in and we haven't been able to make a shake. And he wasn't complaining, he was just making an observation. And that observation, when I was reading between the lines, is, we're offering a service potentially the same as we promise clients on the gym floor, that there's going to be a coach there delivering a training session, but if we haven't got somebody behind the fuel bar making shakes 100% of the time, we're essentially not delivering on a promise we've made. And that's one of the biggest reasons clients can leave your service. I'm not saying it's the fuel bar, but that could be one of the reasons if they don't get something that they want 100% of the time. So how do we combat that? Mr. Kiosk. Mr. Kiosk is something that can deliver 100% of the time, as long as you have good Wi-Fi and electric. But it enables clients to be self-sufficient, to grab what they want and go. Whether that's merchandise, whether that's a drink. The only thing we are now serving behind the fuel bar is coffee. And that's because we've made significant investments into our coffee machines, and also it's something that's very quick for us to make and deliver to clients. And it's something that's very underutilized with our clients. We don't often promote coffee, but it's a nice addition when it comes to client events. So that's a big change we've made. I'm excited about it, and more so because it relieves coaches from having to worry about doing this and being able to actually focus on the main thing. Keep the main thing, which is coaching clients on the gym floor. All right, number 3, check-ins. We've made a big shift with our check-ins, and I'm about to hop on a call with Dylan now to find out and get an update on the progress that we've made in order to roll out our first proper check-in. We've had 3 phases, October, November, December, and this is the first proper launch that we've got before going live end of Jan. So let's check it out. Talk to me then, bro. How's the check-ins looking?
Yeah, it's good. We've got 57 booked in at calls and so far. I think Pearly are at around 23, 24. We're well on track. I feel like we might even get maybe 100. But if things keep going how they go and then we keep up the communications with everyone and we just keep beating that drum on the gym floor, then I think it's definitely possible.
How are you finding pulling together the structure for the 2 different check-in systems?
So I've done the mid-sprint one with all the steps and stuff. And I'm doing like a checklist for pre and post check-in. It's been fine. It's pretty easy, if I'm honest.
How did the team feel about the system? Have you spoken to them about it?
Yeah, I spoke to them on Wednesday last week. They're all for it. They said it makes sense. And they really love the fact that it runs in line with the 8-week program. They think that'll probably be the game changer.
All right, that's us wrapping up the meeting around the future of our check-in process. You see, at the beginning of 2025, we caught up as a team and realized that one of the most underutilized services that we have at the gym that used to be utilized was our check-in process. And as business evolves and as the world evolves, people will have different needs at different stages and different seasons. And we went from doing everything in person with our check-ins, in-person appointments, being able to help people with nutrition, body scans, goals and challenges to help them break through that. And then as certain things shifted and we decided to go more online and check in with people through emails, text messages, and even our own app, we found that slowly but surely the decline in check-ins became more and more apparent. So instead of us making a decision based on what we think, we decided to pick up the phone. And I thought, who are 5 members that used to use the check-in service all the time, but now don't? Because ultimately, if clients don't know where they're going or aren't getting feedback and data that they're going in the right direction, they'll ultimately get to a point of where they think, what am I actually even doing here? It's a really important service that we have alongside what we do on the gym floor, because it just reminds people that, I am going in the right direction, or I am working towards this goal and I can see a big change, or I need to course correct. I've been a little bit too naughty with certain, maybe it's food, maybe it's training that needs to shift. So it is one of the most important facets of your business, is checking in with clients and ensuring they got everything they need. So when I spoke to these 5 clients and they said that the challenge for them was that they didn't like the fact that they got to check in online. We didn't have enough slots for people to book in. And that's when we decided, how can we build a model that allows us to scale this across our gyms? So we decided to create what we call check-in week. And we run a program every 8 weeks. And in those 8 weeks, we follow a very simple system, 3 strength sessions, and we try to get at least 1 conditioning session for every single client. Now, if I take you through the first check-in, because there's 2 different styles. There's a check-in at week 0, and there's a check-in at week 4. So at week 0, we have an action plan session. And this is a 15-minute one-on-one where somebody has an optional body scan, and really it's about us looking at what do you want to achieve over the next 8 weeks? Like, what's the goal? What's the target? Then what we have is at week 2, a signed coach checks in. And this is more of a follow-up in terms of actions that were set right around here. You know, following up and just making sure that person's got every single thing they need. When we come over to our week 4 check-in, this is another in-person 15-minute appointment, which is what we call our mid-sprint review. And this is, again, a chance for us to course correct. A bit like numbers that you track in your business. You track things weekly to get a pulse on where things are, but you track monthly and quarterly to make strategic decisions to course correct. And this is what this is all about. It's about holding your clients to a higher standard than they hold to themselves and making sure that they feel supported and they've got everything they need. So if somebody's hitting a brick wall and they need a bit of a kick up the butt, that body scan might be the reminder and the feedback for you to be able to tell them exactly what they need in order to get to the next level. Then week 6, we have another assigned coach check-in. And then finally, we come into the final part, which is week 7. And that is coming back to this, another action plan session. And the reason why it's at week 0 here and week 7 is because every 8 weeks, we follow this same cycle. So the action plan session is reviewing the past 7 weeks and setting the goal for the next 8. And then we have that mid-sprint performance review to ensure that person's got everything they need. This has been something we've tried to simplify. And that session just there was about looking at the playbooks that we're going to roll out to the team, because we've got the first set of check-ins next week. And we need to make sure that every single person who's going into an appointment has a very, very, very clear way of how we get success at the end of every single 15-minute appointment. 10 years ago, I didn't really know what a front-end offer was. I didn't really know how to structure that. I didn't really know how to get people into my world. I used to have pay per class boot camps, circuits, spin classes, and although it was pretty cool and I built a world-class community, it was reliant on me being there to deliver sessions 100% of the time. Incredibly difficult to scale and incredibly difficult to serve more people. And ultimately, I'm in the service business of being able to create experiences that go way beyond just me. It's about being able to help more and more people in this world that need this product and service every single week. So when we got to 2021 and we opened up the location, where I say we started to do things properly, is when we brought in our 30-day trial. And up to about 150 clients, it served us really well. But what happened is we became so obsessed by how many people we brought on the front end that we felt that we were diluting the service and we weren't able to offer something that's world-class, not just the people coming in that were new, but also existing clients. Remember, you don't want to be forgetting the people that are with you week in, week out. It's more expensive to acquire a new person than it is to keep the same people and keep stretching their vision so we can continue creating something that's world-class. And what we did was we changed and went, you know what needs to be true for us to cut in half how many people we bring on the front end and also deliver something that's just as good but still allows us to make a profit in the business. And that was when we decided to make the pivot and change to a 90-day experience. And that served us really well up until a period of time where we thought, you know what, now the strategy needs to be back around volume, more people on the front end, but also communicating to the marketplace about something that is short enough for them to raise a hand and say, I need help with this thing. So our strategy moving into 2026 is solely around marketing our 21-day experience. Now, is this right for everybody? No, but it's an opportunity for us to get somebody to raise a hand and say, I've got 3 weeks to come in and give it my best. And in those 3 weeks, our role is to be able to showcase exactly what we're all about, get them embedded into the community and get them experiencing all of what we have to offer so that they can make an informed decision whether or not they want to continue and stick with this long term. So here's how I want you to think about your offer. What is the one thing that you can communicate to the marketplace about through your organic marketing, through paid ads, that enables people to say, yeah, I can do that. I've got that amount of time available. And then when somebody comes into your world, it's about having other opportunities for them to invest for a 90-day period of time, or in our case, even a 365-day period of time, because there is such a thing as selling the wrong thing to the wrong person. I always think back to a time where we had somebody who came on board with a 30-day experience, had the money to do the 365 and wanted to invest for a year, but we didn't have the offer. I was stupid enough to say, we don't do a year, we only do the trial, and then you can come on board and do the monthly. Crazy, right? What happened was, in those 30 days, he had an illness. Then his son was ill, so he wasn't able to come in as much as he would like. And after 5 times, him coming in 5 times in 30 days, he decided not to continue past those first 30 days. Now, I, in that moment, realized that I did the biggest disservice in the world and sold somebody the wrong program, because somebody can have a clunky start. But if they're invested for a year, they've got the time to enable to recover, recoup, and say, okay, I'm going again. I've had a bad 7 days. We kickstart, we go. I'm in this for the long run. Whereas if somebody has an easy way out, the chances are they're not going to continue. So as I mentioned, there is such a thing as selling the wrong thing to the wrong person. So you need to have the opportunity there for somebody to raise a hand and say that they want to go for that thing if they're serious enough about going for that offer. So we're going in with 3. We've got a 21-day program, which is around testing the system to see if it's something they want to do long term. 90 days is achieving their first result, and 365 is locking in the lifestyle. Each one of these is absolutely world-class in its own right, and they're all designed to give clients the best experience possible when it comes to the gym floor and creating the life that they want to lead for themselves and their family. And just one last thing, we didn't build this business for everyone. Some people are going to look on the outside and say, whoa, how much? Whoa, that's not worth it. Oh, no, I would never spend that on my health and fitness. But remember this, we didn't build this business for everyone. We built this business for people who are ready and committed to change. I want to talk to you about the primary job as a leader. It's to help people be more effective in their roles. And this brings me in nicely to number 5, which is the organizational changes that we made at the tail end of 2025. You see, we felt that there was so much more potential in the team, but there was too many things that relied upon one person. So we decided to shift that and look at exactly what we needed in the business. What did we need in terms of roles to create something that's just world class from start to finish? And it's more to do with how much time somebody can spend on a certain department. So for example, when it came down to check-ins, we wanted to make sure that somebody was 100% focused on that 100% of the time. When it came down to events, how can we have somebody who really thinks strategically about how we roll them out, how they're planned, how we review previous events, and how we make sure that these events are something that people remember. And as we started to look at the roles and responsibilities that we needed inside of the company, we felt that most of those relied upon one person. So we made a decision to completely restructure how we operate our organizational chart. So we brought in a brand new role, which is the gym manager. And that gym manager is essentially in charge of the whole location. And that location specific is around looking at key KPIs, making sure that the team have got exactly what they need. It's about mentoring and developing. It's around conversions. It's around making sure that if there's any cancellations, we can jump on it as quick as we can. It's really about being the leader of that site. And then you have a head coach, which their specific role is to make sure that we roll out a program the best way we possibly can to lead, develop and nurture coaches so they've got everything they need to be world class on the gym floor. We brought in a new role, which is an assistant head coach, which backs up the head coach and helps junior coaches become more senior, helps with onboarding of new coaches, helps with the check-ins and make sure that that's being utilized correctly, because that's been a big change we've made this year, as you've seen in this video. It's all about how do we make sure that we're driving people to monitor progress and look at data so they can ultimately get closer to where they want to be. And then we've brought in a community manager. And this is a role that we think is going to be absolutely paramount for the growth of the business, because we want to double down on events and make them world class. And we need somebody who's paying attention to that 100% of the time. We want to gather feedback. We want to have somebody speaking to people around their experience, and also being able to get more testimonials from events and also from experiences that people have had on the gym floor. So we needed to make sure that somebody was in charge of that. And then we have our coaching team, which is one of the most important aspects of the whole business, is the individuals that are executing the program day in, day out, helping clients get to where they want to get to. And we feel that that structure alone is going to help accelerate our growth massively. And most importantly, ensure that we can deliver on something 100% of the time. Whether somebody's coming into an event, coming to a check-in, or coming to a session, they're going to get the best of us. So just remember, it's your role, it's your job as the leader of the company to be able to make a strategic shift if it's needed. And the way I figured that out was by writing down everything everybody owns. And I felt that there was too many things that were relied upon around too few people. And now that responsibility, that ownership, that accountability is distributed across roles and responsibilities that should be there. And that is one of the biggest shifts that we've made in 2026. So listen, 10 years ago, everything depended on me. Absolutely everything. And one of the best podcasts that I've listened to in a long time was with Alex Hormozi and Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is the person that comes to mind when I think about who got me to evolve to the next level 10 years ago. He is the GOAT when it comes to personal development. And in this interview, he quite brilliantly picks apart the words, the mindset, the beliefs that Alex Hormozi has, who is very successful in his own right. But there's also part of him that isn't quite happy or fulfilled. And this section here is so powerful because he talks about you evolving your identity. And early on in my career as a football player, that was what my identity was wrapped up around. Then it was around being in a commercial gym and being a one-to-one personal trainer. And then when I had to evolve that identity to become a gym owner and then to bring on team members and become a leader of leaders, and then to where we are today, which is across multiple locations and thinking about going bigger. And here's what he had to say about it.
So your identity is everything. And so you have to be careful because very often in life, we identify to who we were a while ago. Like if I ask someone in an event to do something, they go, I'm not that kind of person. Well, when did you decide what kind of person you were? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago? Would you use a phone from 10 years ago? You'd be an idiot. Why would you use the same old identity? I'm not saying get rid of it, I'm saying let's expand it.
And Tony quite brilliantly talked about how we have to be careful because sometimes we can associate ourselves with the person, the identity that we had quite a few years ago. And in order for you to get to the next level and to get out of the identity that you currently are in, you're going to have to expand it. You're going to have to expand your identity. And that's what I've had to do every single year, every single month. I've had to expand and do things that I'm not necessarily comfortable with, whether that means making a change with the brand, making a change inside the business with the team, whatever that looks like, it's going to be uncomfortable. But on the other side of that, as you recreate yourself and as you build a new identity, comes more success.